Ever since the loss against the Buffalo Bills, there have been Lions fans that have expressed frustration and also concern about the team. But there are a lot more Lions fans that are taking this to a much more deeper level, which is quite frankly sickening. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving in. My folks, my friends, I'm going to tell you this right now. This is one of those episodes that I truly do not like making. This is one of those episodes that truly is one that is both very difficult for me to make, but at the same time, it has to be made. I almost feel like that this is almost kind of going back to when I was at DLF, when I constantly had to make episodes about the SOL fans. I constantly had to make episodes trying to get people to understand that, listen, this is not the same old Lions. This is not the same type of team that we're used to seeing. This is not the same type of organization that we are used to seeing. But thankfully, that whole problem kind of went away. And it was not very hard for it to go away once, of course, we start winning all these games. But the problem is that now we as fans have come into a much different problem. We've now come into a different area where it's kind of almost the reverse. And this is where I truly get to a point where certain Lions fans, they absolutely make me lose my mind. Now, what am I talking about here is that ever since the Lions lost the game against the Bills, if we truly think about it, there have been a lot of Lions fans that have just been absolutely despondent. They have absolutely just been ridiculous, wet blankets, and they're just now all of a sudden like losing all of their faith. Now, is it just solely because we lost the game? No, it's not. It's also because of the injuries we sustained. We lost Ali McNeil for the year. We've lost Carlton Davis, at least until possibly the conference championship game. And at the current moment, we don't know when, David Montgomery's going to come back, but there's some people that are saying that he's holding out hope to possibly come back this season, which I read an article from NBC that's exactly what is the case. I don't know how that's going to happen, but we'll see. But the point of the matter is that you have fans out there now that are just absolutely saying, no, there's no chance we can win the Super Bowl. There's no way we can do it. There's absolutely no chance of it happening. And to me, it's like, okay, here. I could understand that if you were a first-time fan. I could understand that if you didn't understand or didn't know, hadn't been around since the beginning of the Dan Campbell era and all that nonsense. I could buy that one. But there are a lot of fans that have been around since well before even I became a fan. Again, I'm 30 years old, folk. I became a fan when I was 6 years old. I went through all of the freaking Matt Millen era. I went through all of the Jim Schwartz, Stafford, Megatron. I went through all of that. I had seen both the very high, I'd seen both the very low. Unfortunately, I wasn't around really when freaking, the Barry Sanders era was, because I was literally a baby. But there are people out there that because of the loss, because of the injuries, they are actually just like losing their complete minds about this. And now it's gone from, we used to be the Super Bowl favorites. We were going to go to the Super Bowl. We were going to win the Super Bowl. To now it's like, we lose one game, and now we have all these injuries. Nope, no chance of it. Can't win. Not even a possibility of winning. And it's like, dude, the toxic pessimism is just absolutely sickening. It's like, okay here, folks. The thing about this that really irritates me is that we're talking about a team here that has a core nucleus that has been built since 2021 based upon the principles, based upon the mindset that Dan Campbell has put into this team. And we have seen how since 2021 until now, it's not only been built, it's been reinforced, it's been tested, and it's been strengthened. It's literally been like a piece of metal you've put through a fire and you've constantly put it under pressure, you've constantly put it under heat, and it's only gotten stronger every single time you do it. Because let's go back to 2021 here just really quickly, folks. You go back to 2021, what was the very first thing that happened? I remember watching so many freaking television, analysts. I remember watching so many of the professional sports networks. They all heard what Dan Campbell had to say about, I'm not going to give you coach speak. I'm not going to talk in all this fancy riddle nonsense. I'm going to tell you exactly like it is. And you know what? We're going to go out there. We're going to bite kneecaps. We're going to freaking, we're just going to play our style of football. Everybody looked at that was outside of Michigan, that was in the major, networks, and they were like, dude, who is this clown? They're like, this guy is talking about all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, it sounds good, but this is not what coaches say when they go in front of a freaking press conference. This is not what they're supposed to do. And it's like, to everybody outside of the organization, to everybody that was not a Lions fan, it looked like Dan Campbell was literally just a freaking, It looked like he was just a muscle man. It looked like that he had no brains and he was all brawn. And it was such a very poor understanding of the situation. It's like, listen, if you truly understood the history of the Detroit Lions, we had years of the freaking, intelligent coaches, all the freaking geniuses, the gurus. We had all of that. It had never gotten us anywhere. So when Campbell came in, he was like, listen, I've already been a part of that history. That's not what's going to work here. We have to develop a culture based off of who we are, not only as a team, as a city, but as a state. And that is a blue-collar, hard-working, gritty, we're going to put our nose to the grindstone and we're just going to go to work. Campbell understood that. As much of a quote-unquote simpleton as people like to make him out to be, he understood that. But yet everybody else that supposedly knew football, knew what was supposed to be the, what Detroit needed, they couldn't get that. Also in 2021, for crying out loud, I remember when Goff got traded here. And again, this was where I really started in on the whole podcasting thing. There were so many people, not just national media pundits and analysts. There were so many fans here in Detroit that wanted to take a look at Goff and say, man, this guy ain't nothing. He's a bridge quarterback. He's washed up. He's not going to do a damn thing for us. We're literally just having him as a placeholder until we can get our starter. We can draft our next franchise quarterback. I remember for literally a solid year and a half, almost 2 years, I had to fight that battle because people did not want to listen. They didn't want to listen to what Campbell was saying. They didn't want to listen to what Holmes was saying. They didn't want to listen to what I was saying. It was like, dude, everybody else is just taking a look at what the national media is saying or has been saying. But it's like, if you listen to what Holmes Campbell is saying and you actually pay close enough attention, you can clearly see they're not planning on getting rid of Goff. Goff is their guy. But for like a solid 2 years, it was such an uphill battle trying to get people to understand this. And unfortunately, it still didn't really go away until we freaking signed Jared Goff to the 4-year, $212 million deal. There were still people out there that thought, nope, we're just waiting until the contract's up and then we'll get our guy. It's like, dude, that's not going to happen. So that's 2021 where everything starts. And from there, that's where everything gets its beginning, the core nucleus of this team of, hey, we're a gritty bunch. We are never going to stop. We're never going to quit. We are never going to let anybody else control our destiny and tell us what our destiny is. We are the masters of our own destiny. And if you don't believe me, let's go back to 2022 for a moment. 2022 couldn't have started off any worse for the Lions. I mean, for crying out loud, you start off that season, we go 1-6 to start the season off. And the worst part about it is that so many of the games are this damn close. We're this damn close to winning more than one of those 6 games that we lost. It's so damn close, but it's also so damn frustrating. And the reason why I can say that is because by the time we got to the end of that 1-6 start, there was fans that were openly saying, man, we need to fire Dan Campbell. This is not working. We're not getting anywhere. Again, you go back to the end of that period, Campbell's tenure had started at 4-19-1. So yeah, there were people out there that were starting to say, man, Lions are going to fire Campbell. It's only a matter of time. They're not going to hold on to him because obviously things are not working. And, on top of that, like I just said with Goff, there were people that were, again, like I said, trying their damnedest to get rid of Goff. They were trying their damnedest to convince people that it was not going to happen. But what did happen? As we all know what happened. As soon as Sheila, this is the one thing about Sheila that I absolutely love above all else. And I love a lot of things about Sheila. And I've talked about it multiple times before. But this is the one thing about Sheila I have absolutely loved above all else. Because never at a time had anybody that has owned the Detroit Lions done what she did. She heard, obviously, all the rumblings. She heard, obviously, all the talk and all this stuff about, the team's failing, Campbell needs to be fired, blah, 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 blah. Heard all of that nonsense. So what did she do? She held an impromptu press conference in the middle of the practice facility and was on the practice field and said, listen, I have faith in this process. I have faith in our plan. I have faith in what we're doing. That's a huge, huge vote of confidence from the owner when you're literally going through the fire, you are going through the trial, you are going through the tribulation, and everybody outside the organization, for the most part, is trying to throw pitchforks at you. But she stands up and says, listen, I trust Campbell, I trust Holmes, I trust our quarterback, I trust this team. They're going to get it done. And no sooner had Sheila done that, what happens? We freaking rattle off 8-2 in the next, 10 games. We finished the year 9-8, and we're that damn close, literally that damn close from getting into the playoffs. If not for the fact that we lost against the Carolina Panthers, which that game still haunts me a little bit, but also the fact that the Rams could not beat the damn Seahawks, we would have made it into the playoffs. That's how damn close we were. But yet, we still have fans that at this current moment want to say, oh, because of the injuries, because of this loss against the Bills, we can't win a Super Bowl. And some take it even further than that. Oh, we can't even get to a Super Bowl. We'll be lucky if we even win a playoff game or two. Really? Really? Seriously? Is this the thought process that has captured our fan base? Like, I understand some people are going to think I'm a hypocrite for saying this, but it's like, you take a look at everything I've said. I have never once wavered in my thought or support that we're going to make it to a Super Bowl. I have never once lost or wavered in my support or faith that we're going to win a Super Bowl. The only thing I have said of negativity has been against Aaron Glenn. And again, I have clarified that more times than I care to. I did not like what Aaron Glenn did with that game. And you know what? People can say that I'm being too harsh again because of the fact that, oh, well, who does he have to work with? Again, folks, I'm going to say this right now. You guys think I'm his harshest critic. I'm not. I guarantee you this. You want to know who his harshest critic is? He is. Because I guarantee you this. Glenn doesn't give a damn crap about who he has out there. He's wanting his team to perform. He's wanting his players to perform. And regardless of whether or not they're first stringers, second stringers, third stringers, fourth stringers, or hey, you know what? I just picked this bum up off the street 2 days ago. He wants to win. So when he's got guys out there that are not performing, yeah, he's going to be his harshest critic because he wants to win. I'm not against Aaron Glenn. What I am against is when it's like, okay, here, you can clearly see something's not working. If you want to win, maybe just try something to switch it up. I'm not trying to say I want Glenn gone. At this point, I hope we keep Glenn because for him to do what he's done over the last, 13, 14 games is damn miraculous. But sometimes, again, I see the patterns that are like, okay, man, please, just try something different, man. And it's the same thing with Campbell. Again, I love Campbell to death. But there are times where it's like, dude, you could step back a little bit from being so aggressive. It's like, I love the fact that you're aggressive. I love the fact you're a never say die coach. But there are some times where it's like, it would be better if you were just a little bit more conservative. Otherwise, I love Campbell. I love Glenn. I love Ben Johnson. I love Dave Phipps. I love this team. So when I express frustration, I express, what people like to say, oh, you're being a negative Nancy. It's not that I'm being negative. It's that I can step back and I can say, okay, here, this is something that clearly is not working for us. Maybe we should go in a different path. We should go to a different approach here. That's what I'm talking about here with fans right now. It's like, listen, I am not happy about this from our fan base because it's like, what in the hell has our team done to merit this kind of negative backlash from the fan base about, oh, we can't get to a Super Bowl, we can't win a Super Bowl, and maybe we're not even going to win a playoff game. Maybe we can't even win the division now. What has our team done but shown us time and time and time again, never count them out? I mean, you want to truly think about this, we have built a reputation actually on this of always beating the doubters, always beating the spread, always coming out on top when nobody thought we could do it. Another perfect example of this, just to take it off Coach Campbell and Goff and all the other people that are actually on the team, go back to Brad Holmes. Go back to 2023 draft. Remember the first round draft there. He drafts Jahmyr Gibbs and he drafts Jack Campbell. I can recall how there were so many people that thought Brad Holmes had literally let his ego get to his head. They were like, dude, why would you draft Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs that high? The only people that truly looked at the situation and knew better were those that were actually about to draft Jahmyr Gibbs higher than what he was going to do. Because we found out later that there were people that were saying, listen, man, if you don't draft him right where you're at, he's going to get drafted right afterwards. Jahmyr Gibbs was a guy that to everybody outside of normal football, everybody that was not part of the drafting process, everybody that was just, on, again, the talk shows and all that nonsense that everybody wanted to listen to, oh, well, he was a reach. You should have waited until the top of the second round. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Jahmyr Gibbs has played like a top 10, I would say damn top 5 pick. He is the most explosive and perhaps the biggest playmaking back in the entirety of the NFL. You literally get that ball into his hands, you can literally have you can have any range of types of plays. It can be 60 yards all the way to the house to a explosive play. I mean, again, that's what he provides. He's a weapon, exactly what Brad Holmes said he was. And with Jack Campbell, I'm going to tell you this. I remember when Brandon Edwards, of Woodward Sports, he heard we were drafting him. Then he heard the call by the commissioner, Roger Goodell. He walked off the set. He was that, sorry to put it, he was that pissed. He was that upset that the Lions had drafted Jack Campbell. Now look at Jack Campbell. He is one of the better linebackers in the NFL, and he's only getting better. He's turned into a top-notch linebacker. And it's like, dude, even then, you had people that were doubting Holmes. You had people that were doubting the Lions as if they knew what they were doing. It's like the entire process, the entire way from the moment we've hired Campbell to now, you have constantly had people that wanted to tell the Lions, hey, what you're doing is not going to work. Hey, what you're doing is not going to make it happen. And they have constantly proven people wrong. Hey, they proved me wrong about Glenn, and I freely admitted it. I still admit it. Glenn has proven that, hey, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I just sometimes get frustrated with the process because it's like, man, could you just try something different and see if it might work? At the end of the day, I know I'm not a coach, at least of the Detroit Lions. I know football, but it's like, hey, you know what? I freely admit that, you know what? These guys in the building, they know a hell of a lot more than any one of us on the outside do. But at the same time, as a fan, I can step back, and while I can appreciate all that, there are times where it's like, man, it just frustrates me. And you know what? I know exactly what this sounds like. It sounds like I'm speaking out of one side of my mouth and then speaking out the other. But that's kind of the life that a fan lives. It's like, man, I love the team. I love what I'm seeing. I want to be a supporter. But then there are times where it's like, man, I really wish that I could say something or do something different. That's what makes being a fan so frustrating for people, because it's like you want to give all your support, you want to give all of your passion, but then there are times where it's so frustrating you also want to speak out. But understand where I come from here, folks. There's no reason whatsoever to doubt that this Lions team can still get to a Super Bowl. There's no reason whatsoever to believe that we can't even win a Super Bowl. This team has still got a crap ton of talent, folks. Even with all the injuries, it is still a it is still a freaking loaded team with so much talent. It's ridiculous. It's got talent coming out of its ears. And for me, it's like, dude, the idea that there are so many fans that want to say the season is over, it's just crap. It's ludicrous. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Jared Goff, Sheila, the whole team has proven the more you doubt us, the stronger we get. The more you doubt us, the more we prove you wrong. I'm telling you this right now. I'm not worried about the injuries. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Number one, we've got 2 games that are coming up that are very manageable to win. Bears and 49ers. By the time we get to the game against the Vikings, we should have a good amount of our starting players back, such as Anzalone, Melifonwu, Raymond, and all these others. Once we get them back, now it's a completely different ball game. Oh, if we manage to get to, win the number 1 overall seed, then we get a bye week. Then we're into the division round, and now we've gotten even more people back. Everybody's so worried about the injuries, and it's like, listen, stop just for half a damn second and just slow down. The injuries are getting back on the field. They are coming back. You want to get all worried about injuries, and it's like, dude, by the time we get to where we're wanting to be, we could have almost everybody back. And if you continue to hold out hope like most of us are trying to do, despite all the pessimism, oh, that's right. What did Hutchinson just say the other day? I am on track to get to the Super Bowl. And when they said, well, what if you can't do it? And he's like, listen, there's no other way. He's pretty much telling us when we get to the Super Bowl, he's going to be ready. And I'm telling you this right now, I believe him. And I know I'm saying this and it sounds like I'm crazy, but I don't only believe him that he's going to be ready for the Super Bowl. I believe that when he steps out on the field, he's going to be a freaking terror. He's going to be a nightmare. Not because he's going to look bad, he's going to look great. Because I'm telling you this right now, talent just doesn't erode. It doesn't just go away. And again, let's understand something here. For the Super Bowl, you get 2 weeks to prepare for it because you have the bye week before it because there's all the stuff you have to do with the media. And then there's the actual week of actually, preparing, game planning, all that stuff. So I'm telling you, hold your damn horses, folks. Stop being pessimistic. Stop being killjoys. Stop trying to rob everybody of the thought process of this is still our year. There have been many times where teams have gotten to a point where it's truly, truly dark, and it's like, dude, you've got to keep holding on to hope. You've got to keep holding on to what got you here. And I'm telling you this right now. People want to say things are bad for the Lions. They're not bad. They are not bad. Let me ask you this question. Do we still not have 95% of our offense? Yep, we sure do. Do we not still have a good majority of the defense, and a good majority of said defense that's been injured is coming back? Yep, sure do. So stop with the pessimism. If Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, and the rest of them all say we're good, then that's all that matters. That is the end-all, be-all. Nothing else matters. I don't give a damn what Colin Cowherd says. I don't give a damn what Mike Florio says. I don't give a damn what anybody else says out there, Stephen A. Smith or the rest of them. If it ain't coming out of Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, or Jared Goff's mouth, the rest of them can go kick rocks and pound sand. Period. Having said that, and getting all worked up, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you liked this episode, which I'm sure some will not, I hopefully got people to, listen and understand this. But if you liked the episode, I hope that you guys not only like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, but I also hope that if you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you guys never miss any more content I push out. Also hope you all will share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Share anywhere and everywhere you possibly can. And with that being said, I hope y'all got something out of the content. Even if you didn't like it, I hope y'all got something out of the content so that way you can continue to grow and gain knowledge. Whether this is your first time watching me or this is your up upteen time watching me. I hope that that was what happened. I also hope that everybody out there has something that manages to keep their joy. Please keep your joy. Continue to have something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.